Okay, we're moving right along here and we're making some big progress. It's starting to look like the wheel that we're trying to assemble here. We do need to get the axle in next. So let's go up to our insert components. Let's bring in our axle. Nice and pretty axle here to bring in. And on that axle we're going to place that again through our two chambers. Now this one's going to take a little bit more of an effort here because our wheel can move back and forth so we can get in there, but we're getting some tight space here. So let's begin by aligning everything up with our constraining mates. And let's clear that out. So when you have selected things that you really didn't intend to mate together or try to mate together, you can always come into your selection area, right click, you can delete them one at a time or clear them all and start over. So don't be opposed to trying and seeing what happens. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to line those two axis lines up using those temporary axis points and put those into position. And then if I'm looking at the drawing and I know that I have values to those drawings, I do know that there's a couple of things that are common with my drawing, and I want to use some of that. So I've got this little shoulder piece here, this thickened part of my axle, that is the same length as my wheel is wide. So that's going to give me something that I can use to align this inside of my assembly here. I'm going to use a concentric mate here, and I'm going to use the surface of my axle to the inside of my wheel. Now if I select those two, notice it didn't move. Nothing's moved along there because they are already concentric by nature of using the axis between the two, the temporary axis line. So when we think outside of where we're trying to go, we may have processes in place that we may need to reevaluate, and this is one of those examples. Is I've already done the same condition but with a different application. So let's go ahead and clear those out again to give that little practice there. And let's go ahead now and do a coincident mate again, but let's use the edge this time instead of the surface. So we're going to use this nice little edge here, and then put that to the same what will be the same edge of the wheel. And that's going to be a little more involved to get. I'm going to have to change my angle to get a hold of that. And see why I can't get that. We're having a little bit of an issue with getting that edge in there. Let's go ahead and clear that out again and give that another chance to. There, we got that edge that time. Something's got a little glitch here, and it's still not liking that. Those edges are again aligned, so I need to think what is not in that same cylindrical surface, or it's not really plane because we don't have cylindrical planes. But what I do need to do is figure out what can I use to align with. Well, I do have a surface here on that inside of the wheel, that little hub there, and I can use the shoulder here, the axle, and now they slide together very, very nicely. And at that point they are constrained together. So I'll go ahead and check that off, and we're going to take a look at this real quick, because if I move my wheel, and I can move my wheel completely out of the assembly, and I can look at it from different angles, I can see that those are staying nicely aligned. That surface is still there, and I can, even if I'm careful, I can make it look as if it's rolling, which you may want to work with yours. And I still have a nice fit here, but I'm looking that there might be a little bit of an issue on this other side as I'm looking at that surface. Doesn't look to be quite equal. So let's stop here and we'll show you how to fix everything so it works out. And this will just be more of a demo for you, but go ahead and get to this point, and then I'm going to show you a little demo here at that point. Let me just go ahead and close the mate, and we'll go ahead and get to this point, and we'll come right back.